Morning Year 6 and welcome to Monday's reading lesson. Today we're going to be looking at our new class novel, which is Room 13 by Robert Swindells. On our Hucklow YouTube channel I've made a playlist and the first 10 chapters are in there for you to read along with. Before you start reading though, let's have a look at the front cover. Think about why the author's chosen this front cover. Why has he chosen the colours he used? What do you think the picture is of? And what do you think the significance is of the number 13 and why he's used it in the title? Before we go and read the blurb, here are 5 words that I have chosen from chapters 1 and 2. I want you to use these words to try and predict what you think might happen in the first 2 chapters. For instance, if we look at this word here, straight away we know what type of word it is. It's got a capital letter here, so we know, that's right, it's a proper noun, so we know that this is the name of somebody who's going to appear in the first couple of chapters. So an example of a prediction could be, I think that in the first couple of chapters we will meet a character called Fliss, and she has a dream about something. I think she goes on a trip and ends up at the seaside. I think this because it's got the word coach, so she could travel in a coach, and I know that waves are at the sea and the sea is near the seaside. I want you to pause the video now, Year 6, and write your own predictions. Don't forget to punctuate your sentences correctly. Great stuff. So now you've made your first prediction, we're going to look at some more words. Here are 5 more words from the first 2 chapters. Beach, house, adventure, shivered and screamed. Now you've seen those, do they make you want to adjust your prediction? Do they agree with what you've already said? So for instance, I'm quite happy because it says beach here, and before I thought she was going to the seaside because the other word was waves. I'm looking at these 2 words down here, shivered and screamed. Now they're both verbs and they could mean different things. Shivered could mean she goes on a trip and it's cold, so because she's shivering because she's cold. Could also mean that she's nervous about something. If we look at the word screamed, it could mean that she's screaming in horror. Or, because she's at the beach, she could be on a fair, so she could have screamed in delight. Now it's your turn. In a minute, I want you to pause the video again and adjust your predictions now you've seen these second set of words. What is your prediction going to be now? How has it changed? When you've wrote your prediction, unpause. Okay, now it's time to look at the blurb. The blurb for Room 13 says, somebody was in there, somebody or something. There is no Room 13 in the creepy Crow's Nest Hotel where Fliss and her friends are staying on a school trip, or is there? For at the stroke of midnight something peculiar happens to the door of the linen cupboard next to room 12, and something is happening to Ellie Mae Sunderland too. Something very sinister. A gripping page-turner from a master of spooky suspense, award-winning Robert Swindells. Don't read this under the covers at midnight. Did you guess it was going to be a creepy, scary kind of novel? The word sinister here and the use of the ellipsis makes us want, it builds tension, doesn't it? And it makes us want to know what happens. So let's read. What I'd like you to do now is pause this video and open up chapters 1 and 2 in the playlist on YouTube. Once you've read chapters 1 and 2 and listened to chapters 1 and 2, come back to this video and we'll do our final solo task for today's lesson. Welcome back, Year 6. Now that you've read chapters 1 and 2, how were your predictions? Did you predict right? So your last task is to summarise the character Fliss in 1 word. Here are a few examples. You don't have to use these words. You can think of your own word. But when you do choose a word, I want you to justify your word, okay? And by giving evidence in the text. Here's an example. The word I would choose to summarise Fliss is anxious. I have chosen this word because in the text she has a nightmare and is worried about going on the school trip. It also says, at the end of chapter 2, that she has her lip caught between her teeth, and this is usually a sign that someone is worried or anxious. So as you can see in my first sentence, I've stated what word I've chosen, and then I've gone on to explain why I've chosen that word using evidence from the text. It's your turn now, and I can't wait to get your learning back so I can see how you've summarised Fliss. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.